On this show, we tend to concern ourselves with the little things, which of course means we usually completely neglect the big things. We should probably neglect the little things, too.
Welcome to Seincast, a retrospective on all 180 episodes of Seinfeld, being hosted by two guys who can barely run their own lives. My name is Vinnie.
My name's Matt.
Hi, Newman. Boy, I've been waiting a long time to say that.
How you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Counting down the days until the Brooklyn Cyclones game. I think we've managed to bring it up every episode.
The people already know. Let's just move on.
We're moving into the July 4th weekend, though, for all of those who celebrate it. Happy 4th. Mm-hmm. And happy Seinfeld Day, the day after the 4th, July 5th. I think this is the unofficial, Seinfeld Day. 27 years since Seinfeld premiered.
That's a whole other person.
Yes, I'm sure some of our listeners were born after the air date, which is crazy. In addition to, July 5th being sort of this unofficial Seinfeld Day, I wanted to let our listeners know about a fantastic book that I got a chance to read a while back called Seinfeldia by Jennifer Armstrong, who is an incredible author. She's written a book on Mary Tyler Moore. She's also worked for Entertainment Weekly, but she has been working on the Seinfeld book pretty much for the last 2 years, chronicling how Seinfeld came to be. She has interviews with Carol Leifer, Peter Mellman, David Mendel, a bunch of writers and producers affiliated with the show. It actually comes out on July 5th. So, what better way to celebrate Seinfeld Day than picking up a copy of Seinfeldia? It's a fantastic book.
Treat yourself.
Yes. We'll include a link in our show notes if anyone would like to pre-order the book. But, Vinny, before we get into this week's episode, I thought we could bring up some emails from last week. First up, Vinny, we heard from a lot of our listeners writing in about Elaine's history with Chinese food. Chinese food? All right. Elaine has had a lot of issues going all the way back to the Chinese restaurant, with the maitre d', not giving Seinfeld 4 a table. Mm-hmm. And I think we also brought up China Panda. Last week in the race, it was Hop Sings. But there was one big coincidence, one big Chinese storyline that we did not bring up. And you want to talk about that here?
A lot of our listeners wrote in to remind us that Elaine had one of her first run-ins was with Ping, the delivery boy.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe that you and myself both missed this. So kudos to you guys for picking that up.
Yeah, sometimes when we are discussing, I don't know, like all the times that this happened or repeated themes or, jokes that tie into each other, I feel like if we throw out one or two, that's enough. We don't have to get them all. But this is so big, we should have mentioned it. Mm-hmm. Like, this should have been mentioned more than the Chinese restaurant or China Panda, I feel.
Well, I like to do the deep cuts, so leave it to you guys to do the big ones. Right. So, but props to you guys for catching that, because we missed it.
Well, we also heard from Michael Siegel from New York City. We were wondering if Elaine ever had an alias. George has his Art Vandelay, Kramer has H.E. Pennypacker, and Jerry has Kel Varnson.
I believe we mentioned Susie, but is there another one?
Yeah, there's another one when, I think it was the package, when Uncle Leo, burns off his eyebrows. Elaine poses as his nurse, and her name is Paloma.
Ah, Nurse Paloma, yes. Difficult.
Demeanor.
She also posed as Wanda Pepper once, right?
Oh, wow. There you go. Yes.
Did we even say that the other week?
We did not, and we did not hear from any of our listeners.
Just came to me.
Just open your mouth and out it came. Mm-hmm. Next up from Michael Flores in Texas. Two things. First of all, he says, I decided to roll like Vinny and start rewatching the series backwards, and it paid off.
Hey, that guy's all right.
Yeah, this is something that you do, Vinny, and I don't know if many listeners have tried it, but what's the benefit of watching the show backwards?
I don't know. It's something about kind of doing the Quentin Tarantino thing where you see the ending first and how it all came to be, and then you go backwards.
Mm-hmm. Do you tend to notice, I don't know, more connections that way? Or
I don't know. It has like a different feel to it because you're each season the characters getting younger and I guess more naive and the relationships are getting less fleshed out. You've already seen where they are, so kind of see where I don't know. I like going backwards, particularly with Seinfeld.
Well, the biggest thing I noticed when we rewatched the like the first 3 seasons is how nice the characters are. Like they care about each other.
Yeah.
Jerry's very sensitive. George doesn't want to insult anyone. He's concerned how he comes off. And
Elaine recycles still.
That's right. Those are early seasons. It's got to be cool to see these turn into really nice people.
Yeah. It's uplifting.
Anyways, Michael writes in also to say, I wondered why Elaine was okay with dating the communist Ned, and it hit me. Elaine freaks out in the airport episode when she rants about how our goal should be a society without classes.
So perhaps that single event of her being stuck in that middle aisle, that middle seat on the airplane caused her to shift her views.
Yes. Last email here comes from Keel Curtis from Indianapolis.
Is it Keel or Kyle? Because there's a guy that comes to the pharmacy, and I was like, Keel? He's like, Kyle.
All right, Kyle/Keel. I'm so sorry, K. Curtis from Indianapolis. Love this email. This is fantastic. And this is what happens when neither of us are, huge comic book readers. Mm-hmm. When you guys were talking about Jerry and Duncan being related to Superman and Zod, there's actually a very interesting issue of Superman related to this episode of Seinfeld, The Race. A character, Kenny Braverman.
His name had to be Kenny, right?
A childhood rival and enemy of Clark Kent's in high school, becomes a supervillain conduit after being exposed to kryptonite. He finds out Clark is Superman and attempts to kill him and his friends. Now, back in high school, Kenny and Clark were on the track team, and Clark beat Kenny at the state track meet.
Oh, get the out of here. Are you serious?
Yes. According to K. Curtis.
Wow. So basically, Seinfeld, these writers are just lifting the material right out of the comics.
Pretty much. It seems like it.
These ideas are in the air.
Yes. So Kenny Braverman is the Duncan Meyer of the comic world.
Wow.
There you go.
Mind is blown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved getting that email. Well, Vinny, if listeners want to send us their thoughts about this week's episode, have a Seinfeld page website they want plugged, or just want to say hello, how can they do that?
Hello. They can say hello at seincast@gmail.com. They can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, or Instagram.
And what episode do we have this week?
We are discussing the 11th episode of Season 6, The Switch, written by Bruce Kirschbaum and Sam Cass, directed by Andy Ackerman, and it originally aired January 5th, 1995.
Very nice.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, we're in 1995. This is nuts. So some trivia. An alternate title during pre-production, The Bulimic. The title was changed to The Switch before the production started.
As we'll learn, the storyline for the Switch, the menage a trois portion of this episode, wasn't added to the script, to the story, until production week. Larry and Jerry came up with that, very quickly. So if you think about it, George's main storyline was dating this woman who potentially had bulimia. So I understand why the writers titled the episode originally The Bulimic.
Yes, that makes total sense. And it really makes me wonder, what kind of script were we looking at before Larry and Jerry, punched up the Switch storyline? Did like some George stuff fall by the wayside? Because honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the George storyline this week. It just seems a little
weak.
Well, when I think of this episode, I think of two things. I think of the Switch itself, those great convos between Jerry and George, and getting Kramer's first name and the mom. Like,
I agree.
Could an alternate title be like the first name? Is that too on the nose? I don't know.
Perhaps, given the way that NBC really plugged this episode and tried to get people to watch by advertising, hey, we're going to reveal Kramer's first name on this week's show, they could have potentially titled it The First Name.
Possibly, yeah.
Speaking of which, in order to avoid having the name leaked out to the media, in the on all the scripts, they had Kramer's name, which we're going to learn a little bit. They had it as X. So every single draft of the script, every line that had Kramer's first name, the name was, deleted and they put an X there.
Which makes me wonder what they did in those scenes when they actually have to say the name. Did the audience just send some sort of NDA, or how do they prevent it getting leaked from that point?
Right.
But I guess it's easier for things to leak if it's like a photocopied script page.
Right.
But on the topic of Kramer's first name, why reveal the name? What's the impetus? It's actually kind of boring. From Jerry and Larry, they got it in their head that people were wondering the first name. Larry, in fact, thought that they were going out of their way not to do it, which it just seems very funny why these creators think this is an issue, because I'd be totally fine going the whole series without knowing his first name.
Yeah, he's just Kramer. And honestly, watching the show growing up, I never, I'm sure I thought, oh, I wonder what his first name is, but I was never like, I demand to know what his first name is. Tell me,
And if it weren't for the Mister, I would assume his first name might be Kramer,
Mr. meaning Morty, Mr. Kramer.
Right.
Right? Yeah, his first name may have just been Kramer.
So maybe it's more the last name. But yeah, anyways, it's a funny sort of thing that I think Jerry and Larry got in their head, because we know they're not huge on promo episodes, like, hey, tune in, like a gimmick.
Yeah, or something that the network is kind of pushing them to do. They want to go the complete opposite and not do it.
Right.
But this was their own decision to let's reveal what Kramer's first name is.
They wanted nothing to do with the Blackout crossover event. In fact, they never wanted a crossover with any TV show. So it just seems kind of funny if, in fact, this was on their mind. If you remember back to like season, I want to say 3, sometime when Larry Charles was writing on the show, he revealed that there were plans to reveal Kramer's first name as Conrad. That was a suggestion at the time, which, again, no spoilers. We're going to keep Kramer's name hidden until we get to it. But I prefer what they wound up with over Conrad. That's for
agreed.
Sure.
There's only one Conrad in the Seinfeld universe, and that's the carpenter.
Connie, or Conrad.
That's right.
Well, Vinny, should we get started?
Yes, please.
Tennis is the only sport where the uniform is what you would wear under your clothes in any other sport. You're actually out there in your underwear. Less in the old days, they would wear those long pants and the big, heavy sweaters. How long did it take them to get over that? We're out here in the hot sun, running around after a ball. What exactly are we all dressed up for? Maybe that's why they started keeping score like that. Point, you know what? Make it 15. I'm dying in this sweater here. Another one got by me. Take another 10 points. Let's just get this over with.
Love this opening stand-up. I think anytime Jerry does a bit about tennis, it seems he just knows that sport so well and where the funny parts are. But this is, take another 15. I'm dying over here. It's great. One of my all-time favorites.
It gets me thinking of the lip reader stand-up, which is That'll Be 30, Love.
Yep, another classic.
That kind of trumps this one for me, but yeah, this is a nice one. I like it. Tennis is a fun topic on Seinfeld because it does get brought up from time to time. You got the lip reader, and then there's also the I forget the episode name, but when Kramer goes into the coma from getting the tennis balls fired at his face. Oh, Milos, the whole
what is that?
Milo Shark. I want to say the comeback.
I think you're right.
Yeah. First scene of the episode, we're at the Manhattan Plaza Racket Club. If anyone's curious, this is on 43rd between 9th and 10th Ave. Vinny, you know this area very well. It's just a block away from Westway Diner. Where
Delicious.
Jerry and Larry came up with the Seinfeld show. It's in fact the same block as Larry David and Kenny Kramer's apartment complex, Manhattan Plaza. And I'm not sure if we went through their history much on the show early on, but this was sort of I think it was a federally funded apartment complex for artists and
correct
people in the 70s who were either performers or painters, or in their case stand-up comedians, just putting them all under one roof, having a community. So in fact, it's kind of cool to think of this in his building in a sense.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, inside, Elaine, Jerry, and Jerry's girlfriend Sandy have finished a game of tennis. As Elaine is picking up Mr. Pitt's racket at the pro shop, she's approached by a familiar face, Jocelyn Landis. This is the woman who interviewed Elaine at Doubleday back in the Chaperone episode.
Yes, that's Gail Strickland coming back to portray Miss Landis one final time.
Landis was watching Elaine play, and unlike the interview, she thinks Elaine exhibited a lot of grace out there.
Really? Grace? Now she thinks she has grace.
Part of me wonders, is Jocelyn Landis just saying this to mess with her, or do you think
I wouldn't put it past her.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jocelyn tells Elaine to stay in touch. Something may be opening in a few weeks. And this is when she notices Mr. Pitt's Brewline racket, on the counter.
Oh, Brewline. Newman's got the same one.
Newman plays tennis?
He's fantastic.
That actually makes sense. We've pointed out how nimble Newman is on his feet.
Oh, he's very light and airy when he's running.
Well, Jocelyn, of course, doesn't realize this is Mr. Pitt's racket, but she wonders, hey, can I borrow it? It's so nice. And Elaine, knowing it's not hers to lend, but also thinking about a possible opening at Doubleday, says, yes, you can borrow it, and tells Jocelyn that she can just pick it up at her office tomorrow. And Sandy tells Jerry, well, I have to get going, and he throws one of his little jokes out there.
Hey, next time let's play ping pong. It's easier to jump over the net.
Yep. As she heads out, Elaine asks Jerry, hey, have you ever noticed that Sandy never laughs? And he's sort of left standing there like,
Yeah, scratching his chin like, wow. Now, is this a stretch? But does this seem somehow equivalent to Jerry inquiring to Elaine about Carl the mover and his stance on abortion? Jerry kind of planted that seed, which ended up leading to the downfall of Elaine's relationship. And now Elaine is the one saying, have you noticed she never laughs? Which causes Jerry to ponder.
Sorry, are you asking if this is similar where it's like, Elaine just suggesting something? Or do you think Elaine is trying to like sabotage the relationship?
I don't think she's sabotaging at all. I merely think she's just, she happens to make a comment which plants the thought in Jerry's head. Because he had never noticed that she didn't laugh before.
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny that Jerry's in this situation because he's, I don't know, he picks up on so much, especially being a comedian. Funny that this one key thing he would never realize.
Yeah.
In fact, he would go out with a woman who never laughs. I guess it's more noticeable when it's Naomi who has an annoying laugh. Because that's just so grating. But someone that doesn't laugh, I'm surprised Jerry didn't pick up on this.
And the cool thing is Jerry's going to notice Sandy's roommates laugh later on. So then he becomes cognizant of these laughs as the show goes on.
Absolutely.
Speaking of laughing, Sandy is played by Jan Karam, and she's actually a stand-up comedian. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, back in like the 80s and 90s. I don't know if she does stand-up anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with her work, but she was in one of Jerry's specials, Jerry Seinfeld Stand-Up Confidential from the 80s. So I believe she performed in that.
That was the special that got, I think, Jerry the show, right? Because didn't he have this, and that's sort of like the momentum of that is what led George Shapiro to tell, who was it at NBC?
Littlefield?
Yeah, probably Warren Littlefield. Like, I have a good feeling that Jerry Seinfeld is going to have a series on NBC in the next couple of years.
Yeah, 1987, Jerry Seinfeld, Stand-Up Confidential.
Okay. Also, that actress, Jan Karam, she's on Twitter, and it was really cool. We started following her, and it's just really neat to see these Seinfeld actors and actresses that, I don't know, we only know them from this episode, really.
Right.
Seeing them in 2016, it's just kind of nice. She looks fantastic, by the way. Hasn't aged a day.
Oh, good for her.
Let's cut over to the sidewalk here. George and Kramer are at a newsstand. George is very happy. He's bragging about his new girlfriend, Nina, who is a model. And in fact, she's featured in a newspaper that he's holding.
Hey, George is becoming one of the glitterati.
What's that?
People who glitter.
One of our favorite quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Love that one. George thinks that, it's amazing how Nina can eat like there's no tomorrow, how there's no tomorrow and stay so thin. And this is when Kramer suggests, she might be bulimic. And George slowly realizes, she does go to the bathroom right after they finish eating.
There you go, monkey boy.
Another one, 2 for 2.
Yeah. Hey, now Kramer is the one planting this seed in George's head.
Ah, you're right.
Lots of planting going on in this episode.
Also, something I noticed from the scene, what Kramer is eating, he's going to bite into a candy bar. Did you notice the type?
Oh, it's a Fifth Avenue, my friend.
Okay, so whenever I buy Seinfeld candy, for your visits, or I'm putting together a little care package, I always thought Fifth Avenue bar came up in Seinfeld in a big way, and it doesn't. I think this is the only mention of it, right? Does it get brought up in the dealership? Or
Well, the dealership is $100,000, right?
$100,000 bar.
Okay, and then there's also Clark Bar that Kramer gets when they're at
Right.
the other newsstand. But yeah, this might be the only mention of the Fifth Avenue bar.
For some reason,
Henry.
Oh, Henry, big one. I've always had like an opportunity to buy a Fifth Avenue bar, like for a care package or little gift bag, but
Well, hey,
I never thought it made an appearance on the show until now. So
all right, well, I want this in my care package for when I come up this week.
we'll see what happens.
Speaking of newsstands, does this look like the same newsstand in which Larry David works? The one where he denies $20 bills that have lipstick on the president?
Good call. I bet. I mean, we're on the the back lot, that street set, and I'm sure there's only one newsstand there, so why not? Next scene, we are at is it Pappardella? Pappardella?
Paparadella.
Paparadella.
Pappardella. I don't know. Sorry.
This restaurant is on 75th and Columbus. If anyone is interested in grabbing a big plate of spaghetti like Nina is enjoying, she's really going to town on this thing. Very reminiscent of George and the Fix Up.
Hey, maybe that's why they are so good for each other.
Yeah, she's just going to town. She's sopping up the sauce with a piece of garlic bread. And George, of all people, is just staring at her. Obviously thinking, this girl could be bulimic. She's so thin and she's eating like there's no tomorrow. Let's jump to a later scene. Nina, scraping her plate clean and leans back, very full, very satisfied. Like the risotto.
Yes.
But this is the moment when George tries to act casual, but, tells the person, hey, sit back, let the food digest, let those enzymes do their work. And as Nina tries to go to the bathroom, George keeps her at the table, not letting go of her hand. So,
Ooh, that moment when he vigorously reaches across the table to grab her hand. Every single time that cracks me up.
You're fresh. You're fresh.
That fresh woman is Charlotte Lewis. She plays Nina, the model. She's known for being in The Golden Child, Men of War, and Storyville. And other actresses that auditioned for the role of Nina, the model, Lisa Rial and Gina Lee Nolan.
Yeah, I looked them up, and I guess they're just models of some type.
Yeah, Gina Lee Nolan was on, I think, Baywatch and The Price is Right. She was one of the models there. And I couldn't find anything on Lisa Rial, but they auditioned.
Yeah, it seems like they went a little bit more in like the actress route, because the girl who plays Nina, I want to say, is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if she is like a professional model. She definitely looks like one, but I never saw The Golden Child, so I can't. I don't remember her role in that one.
Is that Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty big turkey. So a big fat turkey. Next scene, Jerry and Sandy are out to eat. I was trying to read the restaurant name. I couldn't make it out in my DVD copy, but it's a Cafe Raoul, maybe? Royal?
With cheese?
They're having dinner after seeing that Kenneth Branagh remake of Frankenstein. Do you remember this?
Yes, Robert De Niro as the monster.
Yeah. And Jerry tries out some of his material here. He's like, yeah, Frankenstein didn't seem quite right to me. I missed the sport jacket.
Not that it was that nice of a jacket. I mean, it didn't fit him that well. To me, there's just something about a monster in a blazer. At least it shows he's making an effort.
That's funny.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's funny. Jerry does, he's a comedian, but he's always so jokey, and especially with the opposite sex when he's trying to flirt. There's always a joke element to his, conversation.
Oh yeah, he's doing material right here.
Right, but I feel like he's really turned it up though. Like he's really trying to gauge Sandy to see, all right, I'm throwing out some A material here, maybe B material.
Oh yeah, of course. In the same way that he finds a woman who doesn't like pie or accept pie vexing, or a woman who wears the same outfit all the time, now he's perplexed by this woman who doesn't laugh at anything he says. And he's a comedian.
And it is a huge turnoff, isn't it, when someone doesn't laugh or have a sense of humor at all.
Or that's funny. I actually remember when I was dating a girl, instead of laughing, when I'd say something, she'd say, giggle. Oh, and it drove me crazy.
Yeah, that's no good. It's the equivalent of what's her name, who played Cynthia on Seinfeld.
LOL.
Exactly. She was in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that's all she'd
Maggie
say.
Wheeler.
Yeah, Maggie Wheeler. LOL. And the husband's like, Larry, you got to talk to her.
Okay. Good stuff.
Anyways, let's cut over to Jerry's apartment. Jerry is telling Elaine about the jokes, bouncing off Sandy like Superman. She won't laugh. Instead, as we heard, she just says, "That's funny."
That's funny.
Love that. There's even a moment here where Jerry sort of, trails off. He's unable to come up with an analogy. It's like something.
Yes, another moment that I love. When the very essence of the show is thrown a little curveball. You assume Jerry's going to come up with some really hilarious comparison between, someone dating a girl that doesn't laugh, yet he's got nothing.
It's like the writers are just like, f it.
No, that's not it at all. They're making fun of the very show, like the very essence of what the show is. Well, it's got to be like this. It's actually really similar to, remember the episode when George, wondered what it was about a woman laughing and then grabbing your arm? Like why that was so appealing?
Right.
And Jerry goes, let's not even analyze it.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's like on a whole nother level.
Sure.
Are you just sloughing me off?
No, I mean that because I think it's a little bit of both, though. I think it's the writers kind of being self-aware of what kind of show they're writing for, but also it is sort of a cop-out of a joke.
Well, there's yeah.
Well, the only way they can get away with it is because you'd expect them to have a joke there for this kind of show.
Mm-hmm. There's actually a deleted scene when Jerry and Elaine are talking about this, and I think it's regarding the Doubleday issue. Mm-hmm. And Elaine says, Jerry, I'm not going to get in another analogy thing with you. And she continues to go on. Do you remember that?
Oh, no, I don't.
It's in a deleted scene.
Huh. Oh, that's right. When they're in the apartment, going on about, okay, so...
Maybe, perhaps they wanted to insert that joke in this episode. You know what I mean? Because that's twice they did it.
Sure, and I think that's like one too many because after a while, it's...
one and done.
It just feels like the writers don't have a joke.
Yeah.
But Elaine calls Doubleday to see when she can pick up the racket, and she hears that Jocelyn hurt her arm playing tennis. Ew. So more to come on that, but George enters, upset because he heard a noise.
Blind.
And here's a Seinfeld term that never really took off, refunding. That is when someone will throw up their meal.
So I guess if it's voluntarily versus involuntarily, because, they do talk about vomit streaks and, several times, right? Throughout the series.
And refunding seems like there's a, they want to throw up.
Yeah.
She likes to throw up. Hey.
Very well done.
There's a connection. Speaking
Speaking of which, does anybody find it weird that George, the character George Costanza, is dating a model in this episode? Did that seem crazy to anybody?
Maybe not Jerry, but George's girlfriends, for the most part, seem really out of his league.
Okay.
But we're entering that phase where he's just dating these. He's literally dating a model, people. What is going on? And
again, he's going to do it in, after Susan dies. He has the picture of her. No, I'm sorry.
Man hands.
Man hands, yes. Mm-hmm. So he dates models in the future as well.
It's not that it gets any easier for him, but anytime he's with a gorgeous woman, you're always left wondering, him?
Her.
Another great character moment as George winds up a joke. Elaine, of course I'm concerned. I'm paying for those meals.
And Elaine, kind of inquires about that. George delivers his response. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if Elaine knew that particular response was coming.
Oh, that's another self-aware joke from the writers where Elaine kind of spreads her arms
George out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, there it is.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, there was some deleted dialogue here, I think, from Elaine suggesting that Nina may have gone to the bathroom just to freshen up, right?
Right, and George replies, she doesn't look any fresher. She looks exhausted. And Jerry would respond, well, the way I see it, once it's in her stomach, you've surrendered all rights. It's hers to do what she wants with it. Which I really wish that would have stayed in. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I like that. So George is only mad because it's like throwing money down the toilet. Wishes there could be someone in the bathroom that could help him out.
Hey, here's your scrubber back there.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, maybe I could bribe one of those women that hand out the towels in the powder room.
A matron?
Yeah.
Well, I can't help you there.
What?
What? Nothing.
You know a matron?
Me?
You.
No.
Kramer.
What? No, look, just leave me alone.
What is it?
No,
Tell me.
Don't make me.
What?
No, I can't, all right? I can't.
Who?
My mother's a matron.
Babs?
Yeah, there, all right, I said it. There, you satisfied? Anything else you want to know?
Kramer. I need to know if Nina is refunding.
Look, George, I can't help you, all right?
Why not? Why not?
Let me go. Because I haven't talked to my mother in 5 years. We just don't see eye to eye. I don't even want to get into my childhood. I'm still carrying a lot of pain. A lot of pain.
Come on, Kramer.
No, I
you could
can't.
really help.
I can't.
Kramer, you're gonna have to face her sometime.
Always a treat when we get a glimpse into Kramer's past, and this episode's going to be a big one.
Yeah, we've only heard about Kramer's mom really from the you mentioned earlier, the Wanda Pepper jacket arc, which is interesting. Is this something? If I were to give you two options, basically, back in January of '95, meet Kramer's mom or get Kramer's first name, what are you more interested in?
I'd want to meet his mom because we kind of have learned that he's had a little bit of a troubled past, and why. Just like we can see the effect that Costanza's had on George, I'd like to see why Kramer is the way he is.
I feel the same way. I mean, there's a lot more depth to the character of the mom than just a name, but I just felt really unsatisfied with the Babs arc. Really, I totally underused.
Yeah, I don't see her as the mother of Kramer. Maybe it's just her character, but I thought Kramer's kind of free swinging, hip in the way he dresses and kind of his outlook on life. So I thought he'd have like a cooler mom, versus Babs, who we got.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna meet her in a little bit here. From the scene, though, you do get the sense that Kramer and his mom, they have some. There's some tension between the two. He hasn't seen her in 5 years.
And furthermore, one wonders, what was it 5 years ago? Because that was during the show. Like, the show was already going at that time, right?
Yeah, I mean...
So why did they have their falling out? What led to it? Was it her, as we'll learn, her substance abuse problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also the whole issue with the jacket. That makes me wonder, too, back in the that arc when Kramer has to go to the apartment to get his jacket back, that means he wasn't talking to his mom at that time.
Yeah.
I have to revisit that story arc. Was he in touch with his mom? Like, is there a contradiction there, or was he just trying to, do stuff behind her back?
Let's not even analyze it.
I think you speak for most of our listeners. Let's go over to Doubleday. Elaine stops by Landis's office, the same place where she interviewed in The Chaperone. And this is when Landis turns around in her chair with the revealing this elevated arm in a cast.
Excellent reveal. The way that the chair swivels.
She tore her. I'm going to give you this one.
Humeral epicondylitis, a.k.a. tennis elbow.
Oh. Do you need a cast for tennis elbow?
I'm not sure. I think this is more for effect here.
Sure.
Plus, I don't recall the cast with the arms on it there to put the arm up that high.
I don't know if it plays that well, but it is great as she spins, and it's kind of slow, a little jerky. Yeah. The doctor says that Jocelyn may never play tennis again, and she gets really emotional. All Lane can think of is the brew line, which is just, sitting nearby.
If I can't play tennis, I have no reason to live.
Very good.
Thank you.
And as she starts crying, Elaine just feels too awkward to ask for the brew line back and tells her it's not important. And she just kind of backs out of the room.
Good luck with that condylitis.
Another storyline I don't like this episode is the Elaine Brewline arc. Why doesn't she just ask for the tennis racket back?
Because she's such in a fragile emotional state that it could rub Miss Landis the wrong way.
At this point, does Elaine think that Landis, in her emotional state, will still offer her a job? Because to me, it's like, all right, I sort of, blew my chances of getting a job here because this didn't work out for her. Like, Landis is going to associate me with the injury because I lent her the racket.
I That's a stretch.
I mean, listen, it's just this thing that I don't like.
I could see.
I don't mean to get you to agree with me. I just don't like. I never bought why Elaine doesn't just take the racket back right then.
Well, maybe the deleted scene might actually shed some more light. Originally, Miss Landis said she injured her elbow because she had beaten her brother at tennis for the first time in her life. And she said, I never played like that before. It was the brew line. I couldn't miss with it. It was like I was born to play with that racket. And Elaine responded, it's got a big sweet spot. And then Miss Landis said she felt the urge to jump over the net, and she failed, and that's when she fell and hurt her elbow.
That's interesting. So it wasn't the racket itself. It was her overconfidence.
So going back to what you're saying, I still think, I'm with Elaine. I'm with you, Elaine, that she still had the job, in her sights. So she didn't want to do anything to ruin it.
Right. I think my point of view is just fueled by Jerry's frustration later on. He just keeps saying, how could you get in trouble from trying to steal your own racket back? Like, it almost feels like Jerry is acknowledging how silly the whole situation is. But
that's stealing.
Let's cut over to the Beach Cafe. This is the restaurant where Babs Kramer works. She's an older woman, got her sweater, draped over her shoulders. She's organizing some of her items in the bathroom when Kramer and George arrive.
Ma?
Cosmo!
Cosmo?
And there it is.
We got the first name.
The cat is out of the bag. A couple things. Larry David is the one who came up with that name. As we said, when he was living in the Manhattan Plaza apartments with Kenny Kramer as his neighbor, he said there was a kid there that had the name Cosmo, and that name always stuck with him. And that's kind of where he decided to land on Kramer's name.
It's a great name for the Kramer character, I think.
I got to tell you, I'm not crazy about it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm kind of lukewarm on Cosmo.
Is it because there's no name that could replace or add to Kramer?
It's like a Seinfeld finale. You're never gonna please everybody, and I just I'd probably rather have Kramer just be Kramer. So
I like the alliteration, Cosmo Kramer. It feels right.
Yeah.
Also Cosmo, Cosmo's kind of out there, kind of weird.
That I get.
I don't know. I don't know what name would be better than Cosmo. But I don't know. It's sort of settled in with me over the years. And
okay.
I like that we're disagreeing though on this.
For once, yeah.
If you had to choose a name though, anything come to mind?
No, I don't think you could. I feel like you can't. Kramer can't have a first name. I feel like he comes out of the womb, and this is my baby boy Kramer. I guess that's why I'm so the way I am. Babs Kramer is played by Sheree North. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2005, but she appears here in The Switch as well as the finale. And notable film credits include The Shootist, Charlie Varick, and Maniac Cop. But she goes way back, this cat.
Yeah, I was looking at some photos of hers online a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, she was just gorgeous back in the day. I mean,
a real looker.
Yeah, she has the swimsuits on, and the 50s hairdos. It's incredible. I recommend everyone to Google her old, I guess pinup photo shoots. But interesting casting choice for the role of Babs Kramer.
Yes,
I think we were just expecting something a little more eccentric and
good way of putting it,
and out there, kind of wacky, but. More on Babs later. Let's move over to Jerry's apartment. Sort of the same scene from before. This time Elaine is telling Jerry what happened with Jocelyn Landis. Mr. Pitt apparently has a big match tomorrow with Ethel Kennedy, so he's going to need the racket back.
He needs a $300 brew line to beat Ethel Kennedy.
So Jerry suggests, hey, why don't you go back during the lunch hour and take the racket back? But Elaine thinks that's stealing, and Jerry gets frustrated here. How can that be stealing if you loaned her the racket? But maybe Elaine isn't making the point. I'm concerned it's going to cost me a job.
But here's that deleted scene we talked about earlier where she couldn't find the analogy. She didn't want to deal with an analogy face-off with Jerry, right?
Yeah, and there's a funny line here. In fact, I think this helps fuel your point of it, this is her opportunity to stop working for Mr. Pitt and getting a job at Doubleday. Mm-hmm. She's like, Jerry, you don't understand. I don't want to have to go back to picking salt off of Mr. Pitt's pretzels. And Jerry says, hey, there are worse jobs than that, like patting oil off a pizza.
And that would have been cool to leave in because you got, more callbacks to Mr. Pitt and what Elaine's been doing this season. So I kind of wish they would have left this little snippet in.
Is there a similar job to, picking salt off pretzels, patting down a pizza?
In the show?
Oh, no, just in general. Like, I'm thinking like crust off of a sandwich. That's not too bad. I had a childhood friend that couldn't eat apple skin. So he had to have all of his apples peeled.
It's riddled with toxins.
Oh, boy. Well, George enters.
Hey-o.
Hey! So what happened with Kramer's mother?
Oh, it's all worked out. Nina and I are going to have dinner Thursday at the restaurant where Babs works.
What's she like?
Oh, she's a Kramer. And while I was there, I happened to pick up another juicy little nugget about our friend.
Oh, I'm ready. What?
Come on, what is it?
I got the first name.
You found out Kramer's first name?
That's right. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I've been trying to get it out of him for 10 years. What is it?
What?
Cosmo.
Cosmo?
Cosmo.
Oh, what's so funny? What? Okay, so you know the name now, huh? The cat is out of the bag.
Well, I gotta hand it to you. You did a hell of a job keeping it a secret all these years.
It's not such a bad name.
Well, all my life I've been running away from that name. That's why I wouldn't tell anybody. But I've been thinking about it. All this time, I'm trying not to be me. I'm afraid to face who I was. But I'm Cosmo, Jerry. I'm Cosmo Kramer. And that's who I'm going to be. From now on, I'm Cosmo.
Ooh, what I love in that clip is when George goes to the fridge to get a drink, and then Elaine and Jerry kind of box him in, and he kind of like parts them with this really arrogant way about him.
Oh, she's a Kramer.
I got the first name.
Oof.
And another thing that I take away from that clip is the laughter seems so genuine among the three before Kramer comes in. Mm-hmm. It feels like they're not even acting. They're just loving this moment of being able to share. And like the reveal of Kramer's name, it's like a monumental occasion in the show's history. And these three actors are they get to be on screen and share it.
I do feel bad for Kramer when he walks in because everyone's laughing and he's like, hey, what's so funny? What?
And Jerry actually in an interview said that Michael looked almost a little bit embarrassed that some of the mystique had been taken away from Kramer, and you could see it in his face. So he always felt a little bit bad about that, which I kind of sensed that as well.
Yeah, we never heard from Michael what his thoughts were on the name. Early on, it seems like he really enjoyed the mystique of the Kramer character and really figuring out who this guy is in an organic way. Mm-hmm. And just to kind of throw his first name out there, kind of feels like a gimmick. Do you think Michael's reaction in this scene is acting, or do you think, in a sense, he feels like some of that mystique?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that moment when Jerry comes up to Kramer and he's like, yeah, I got to hand it to you. You did a hell of a job keeping it a secret all these years.
Yeah. Another moment that feels it's more the actors versus the characters engaging.
Yeah, it feels very natural, that moment.
Some more deleted dialogue from this scene. Jerry would ask how Kramer's mother is doing, and he would say, she's coming to stay with me for a while. We're going to try and patch up our relationship. I have a really good feeling about this. It's a whole new consciousness. And Jerry responds, cosmic.
Yeah, I like that.
That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Cosmic, Cosmo. One other thing I take away from that scene is every time I hear Kramer say, I'm Cosmo, Jerry. I'm Cosmo Kramer. I assume the ass man's going to follow that.
Great pull.
Mm-hmm. And throughout the rest of the series, anytime I hear Cosmo Kramer, I think it's going to be the ass man.
I'm Cosmo Kramer, the ass man. Yes. Good call.
Okay, on with the story.
Next scene, we're at Sandy's apartment. Jerry stops by to pick her up, but a different woman answers. It's her roommate, Laura. Sandy is in the shower, but she asks Jerry, do you want to come in?
I would, but I forgot to bring a towel. That's a really good Laura laugh.
Oh, thank you.
That's Heather Medway, who plays Laura. She was a cast regular on Viper, and then she's been in The Fear, as well as an episode of Friends.
Oh, very cool.
Ooh, but you can see the wheels already turning in Jerry's head as she walks off. He's eyeballing her, saying she should have been her. She's the one I should have been with.
It's a great expression on Jerry's face. He's just, oh, what do we got here? This is nice. Let's cut over to Monk's. Jerry is telling George how the roommate laughed at everything he said. She even had a great laugh, kind of lilting and feminine. None of those, big coarse ha's. You know those?
Oh, yeah. Ha! Hate the big coarse ha's. Hate those.
This is something we have quoted a lot through the years. Why is that? Do you know why? I mean, we quote a lot, but
there's good stuff and there's stuff that sticks with you. I think it's cadence as well as like the scene we're about to see is one of the classic ones.
Sure.
So it inevitably sticks with you.
Well, a lot of the quotes we pull can be tied into what we're talking about or what's going on in our life. I don't recall us talking about people laughing,
Or ha's, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
why do we love There You Go, Monkey Boy?
Yeah.
But hey, this is back-to-back weeks with two classic George and Jerry scenes.
Absolutely. We have some clips coming up here. Jerry points out how attracted he is to her, or as he puts it, she possessed many of the other qualities prized by the superficial man.
So as you can see, I've got a bit of a problem here.
Well, if I hear you correctly, and I think that I do, my advice to you is to finish your meal, pay your check, leave here, and never mention this to anyone again.
Can't be done, huh?
The switch?
The switch.
Can't be done.
I wonder.
Do you realize in the entire history of Western civilization, no one has successfully accomplished the roommate switch? In the Middle Ages, you could get locked up for even suggesting it.
They didn't have roommates in the Middle Ages.
How do you know?
Well, for one thing, they didn't have apartments.
Well, I'm sure at some point between the years 800 and 1200, somewhere there were two women living together.
The point is, I intend to undertake this, and I'll do it with or without you. So if you're scared, if you haven't got the stomach for this, let's get it out right now. And I'll go on my own. If not, you can get on board and we can get to work. Now, what's it gonna be?
All right, damn it, I'm in.
I couldn't do it without you.
All right, let's get to work.
And this is when we got that great montage of Jerry and George, figuring out the switch. How can it work? A couple of shots here. It's that overhead shot of the booth. It's like George adding more sugar to his coffee. Then later, Jerry's tapping his spoon. George is ripping up a napkin. They're having dessert. George throws down the napkin and the pen in frustration. And then there's that great shot at the end. They're just enjoying the coffee and the bill gets dropped off. George looks at it.
And then he slowly passes it towards Jerry.
Right. And then later we're on the sidewalk. Jerry and George, we're not hearing any of this. It's in fact this old film noir kind of music, right?
Straight out of the 40s, right? Like a crime show.
Mm-hmm. And they're talking it out. George is very animated. They get into some sort of fight, but they're working on this all day pretty much.
Into the night.
Yeah, into the night pretty much. Let's go back though to that scene at Monk's where they're talking about the switch. It's incredible how Jerry doesn't even need to spell it all out, but George reads his mind. Is it possible to date the roommate?
Oh, if I think I know where you're going, and I think that I do. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they've talked about this before. Who knows?
I think the moment that sticks out to me is the, you could get locked up for suggesting it in the Middle Ages. And Jerry, they're having this kind of serious conversation, and Jerry's taken aback. They didn't have apartments in the Middle Ages.
They didn't have roommates in the Middle Ages.
Or roommates in the Middle Ages?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a tall order, to try to figure this out. It sounds like Jerry or George have had this problem before. Maybe they've collaborated, tried to figure it out. They never could quite crack how can someone date one woman and then dump her and date the roommate. It's impossible. Yeah. But, we get through that montage, and then later we're at Jerry's apartment. It's at night. Jerry's sprawled out on the couch. George decides to call tonight. He's exhausted, and they'll just get back to brainstorming in the morning. Jerry admits, what's the point? The switch is impossible. I'm going to be stuck with the non-laugher, and that's that. And as George leaves, there's like a good 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is a long time for a 22-minute, network sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
Good 5 seconds pass with the apartment quiet and empty until George barges back in, throws down his jacket, and screams,
I got it!
Great moment there, great delivery, and great shot of, George just shooting his arms up. There are a lot of cool GIFs online of him doing that.
That 5 second pause, though, isn't it kind of depressing? It's like, I feel like that's the image of the end of the end of the series, where it's just an empty apartment, nobody's coming home.
Right. Play that over the credits. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, they died in the first episode.
It's tragic.
So we have an act break, and we come back to Jerry's apartment. Now Jerry and George are they're eating some pizza, soda, and they have come up with a plan.
So I tell Sandy that I want to have a menage a trois with her and her roommate.
That's right.
And you believe this course of action will have a two-pronged effect. Firstly, the very mention of the idea will cause Sandy to recoil in disgust, whereupon she will insist that I remove myself from the premises.
Keep going.
At this point, it is inevitable that she will seek out the roommate to apprise her of this abhorrent turn of events.
Continue.
The roommate will then offer her friend the requisite sympathy, even as part of her cannot help but feel somewhat flattered by her inclusion in the unusual request.
A few days go by, and a call is placed at a time when Sandy is known to be busy at work. Once the initial awkwardness is relieved with a little playful humor, which she, of course, cannot resist, an invitation to a friendly dinner is proffered.
Well, it all sounds pretty good. There's only one flaw in it. They're roommates. She'd have to go out with me behind Sandy's back. She's not going to do that.
You disappoint me, my friend. Sandy wants nothing to do with you. She tells Laura, if you want to waste your time with that pervert, that's your problem.
It's a perfect plan. So inspired, so devious, yet so simple.
This is what I do.
You might as well just have Larry and Jerry sitting at the table, because I feel like this is the exact way they talk and go back and forth with these ideas.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You wonder how much, especially as you mentioned at the top, Larry and Jerry added this roommate switch storyline. Makes you wonder if a lot of this discussion was taken from their time together in their room together.
I would imagine it's almost verbatim, Mm-hmm. It's great.
Absolutely. Fantastic
what
stuff
a scene.
here. And what a crazy concept. Like, the arrogance in both Jerry and George that this plan will work. It's just listening to it again, it's insane. It makes no sense, and there's quite a few leaps, For me, the biggest just like assumption here is that Laura is going to be into Jerry. Like, she'll be flattered that she was included in the menage a trois. That, to me, is so unrealistic.
But damn, the way they present it with the montages and the cutaway shots, I buy it. I'm like, oh, this could work,
Mm-hmm. They really do add a lot to the scene. Probably the coolest bit of trivia, though, from the scene comes from that shot of Jerry. A few days go by and a call is placed at a time when Sandy is known to be busy at work. That is a reused shot from another episode, right?
Yes. And he's got that very noticeable shirt. It's the blue and white vertical stripes, but he's on the couch, and it's when he's talking to Miss Rhode Island, saying they'll slap that Miss Congeniality sticker on you. They use that shot right here in this cutaway.
Yeah, so that's from the Chaperone episode.
It's unmistakable. It's really cool that they, the keen eye, the acute observer, picks up on that.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if this plan works. We'll find out. Jerry is at Sandy's apartment a few scenes later. They're on the couch. and in a pretty like sleazy delivery suggests, well, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I believe it's menage a trois.
Oh, that is a wild idea.
Huh?
Well, and the writing here. What could you possibly expect Sandy to say? Or I guess what would you at least likely expect her to say?
Probably this.
Yeah. Oh man, brilliant stroke.
Love that. And the actress who plays Sandy, just a great delivery there. She doesn't have a lot to work with this episode, but
yeah,
that is a wild idea. Anyways, let's cut over to Doubleday. Elaine arrives at Landis's office. No one is around as she sneaks behind the desk and grabs the racket. But before she can leave, Landis's assistant walks in. And it seems like he already spotted Elaine. Mm-hmm. Like, he walks in with his arms almost folded, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
boy, does he have it in for her already.
Right. And he wonders why she's taking the racket, doesn't believe it's Elaine, and starts fighting her for it. It's a pretty awkward moment, you know, as he rips it from her hands. And she asks, you know, you don't have to mention any of this to Miss Landis, do you?
I don't have to, but I will. This is Terry Sweeney, who plays Keith, the assistant. And man, this guy goes way back. He was on SNL as a cast member and writer from 81 to 86. And then he was a writer on Mad TV from 97 to 98.
There you go. And
pretty cool.
I guess he's known also as being the first openly gay cast member on SNL, which
I didn't know that.
Pretty interesting. He is fantastic in this little scene here. Again, another character that doesn't have much to work with, but it's all on the actor.
And we didn't hear about the no.
Yeah. Well, what do you think you're doing with that racket? And that last line is just killer. I don't have to, but I will. Mm-hmm. Just these characters that just no reason. They're just going to screw like our main four over.
But they're quirky and they stick with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Next scene, Kramer is walking down the sidewalk, arm linked with his mom, and this is one of our favorite scenes here.
Hi, Cosmo. Hey, Mr. Clotworthy. How are you today? Couldn't be better. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Cosmo.
My mom, Babs.
Hi, Mrs. Kramer. Lorraine.
Yes, it's a fine day.
What do you say, Cosmo?
Hey, everything, my man.
Some familiar faces and voices in that clip. First one is going to be Mr. Clotworthy. He's played by Clive Rosengren. He also played the waiter in The Wink. So
really,
it's a full bird stuffed with ham, topped with gorgonzola.
That's really him?
Same guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Double dipper.
That's right.
You double dipped the chip.
Double dipped? What are you talking about?
Or is it Vinny? Is it a double dipper?
Technically,
it's more likely he could be the same character, but keep in mind, you are arguing that Coleman's manager and Skycap are the same guy.
Anyway, and the second woman to pass is Jacqueline M. Houston. She's Lorraine. This is her only acting credit, so good one to be in. And then we have that signature voice. What do you say, Cosmo? That is the voice of Larry David.
Such a bizarre delivery. You know, it's funny. We could have Larry David every week as George Steinbrenner, but there's something about the "What do you say, Cosmo?" that's so funny. And I remember back in college when we found out, you know, who Larry David is, and we're picking up all these little moments.
Yeah.
Like, that's Larry David.
Oh.
Let's cut over to Monks here. Kramer and Babs are eating lunch, and he tells her, hey, I want you to quit that matron job, and maybe we could get into business together if she's clean.
I told you, I've been clean for 2 years. She takes a swipe at him, and he kind of, recoils, but then they go right back to their conversation.
Right.
As if this is just, maybe that's part of his childhood, you know?
I think so.
It's no big thing.
There's a lot of abuse, I think, in Kramer's childhood, for sure. Babs wonders, what would we do together? And Kramer says, hey, I've got plenty of ideas.
I always believed in you, Cosmo.
Right. So she says, hey, I'll call the restaurant and I'll quit my job. What do you think about this character? Does it seem a little underwhelming? Like this isn't really who you imagine Kramer's mom would be, or does it fit for you?
No, that's exactly it. This is not. When I remember first seeing the episode, and even in subsequent views, this is not who I would expect to be the mother of Kramer. This hip, out there character that I've grown to love now for 6 seasons. His style, his kind of being ahead of the curve, and just being a Lothario among the ladies, and great with his friends. This is not who I would have envisioned, both in look as well as the way she acts toward her son, to be Kramer's mother.
I mean, from what we've heard, that Kramer had a rough childhood, and going back to that season 3 episode or whenever, he has to get the jacket back, and Elaine's there as Wanda Pepper.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about her chain smoking and, you know, sucking Colt 45 from a can. So you know she's really, like, washed up. And we find out here she has some substance abuse problems.
Yeah.
It fits. It just doesn't. It feels like they could have done so much more, I guess, with the character.
Yeah. And even like a weird look, like crazy hair. I don't even know if that would be too cliche to do.
Right. It's basically Kramer, but just a woman.
With a wig, yeah. But I don't know. I think this is. I think no matter who we got, we would have said, how can you put a face to Kramer's mother and a voice? You know, like it's almost like one of these characters that's better left off screen.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think out of the main 4, Kramer deserves the most, like, mystery. You know, and you're better off almost left wondering, oh, what was that all about? Like the first name, for example, right? You don't really need a first name for the character, but I do like the actress they got. You know, there's nothing wrong with her. I just wish we had more over the series. You mentioned she's in the finale. I forgot. She has no, like, scene, though. She's in the audience, but
she's just there.
She's just there. That's a good way to kind of sum her up.
But, I mean, Kramer right there, he said it. Let's go into business together. There could have been an episode where they, you know, one of his make your own pie ideas or, you know, shoehorn hands.
Yeah, I wonder from the production if there were plans for Babs and they just didn't work out, or the actress couldn't do it, or what. But this doesn't seem like a Lawrence Tierney, Alton Bennett situation where he was like a terrifying individual.
Yeah, they didn't want him to come back.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on with this actress here that either prevented her from coming back, or I don't know if there was.
It could have been a single shot deal. We don't know. But
yeah,
the Seinfelds and the Costanzas came back for multiple episodes, so you never know.
And you know, we can put it to bed here. Just maybe it just boils down to, hey, Kramer is more interesting when we don't know a lot about his past. Like
that's what I think it is.
We gave you the name, we gave you the mom. That's enough. Now Kramer's dad, on the other hand.
Oh boy.
Oof. Next scene, we are at the beach club. Nina is finishing her dinner, heads to the bathroom to freshen up.
Of course. And why shouldn't you? Be fresh. Stay fresh.
After Nina leaves, a woman at another table gets up to use the bathroom, saying she doesn't feel very well.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like you know where this is going. A waitress drops off a dessert menu, and this is when George hears that Babs quit. So he races off to the bathroom and hears someone throwing up inside. And he hesitates for a second, then he just storms in, giving one of those big chorus ahas to the closed bathroom stall. But Nina is not in the stall. She's brushing her hair at the mirror, wondering what George is doing there.
I was just wondering what it is you wanted for dessert.
And as Nina walks off, you know, sending the message that it's over, the other woman, the sick woman, exits the bathroom stall.
How you feeling? Tish Smiley plays the woman who's vomiting. She was in Yuri and Me, Like Those Who Dream, and Poltergeist. And then the waitress is played by Cheryl Frances Harrington. She was in Into the Wild, The Perfect Host. She voiced on the PJs as well as the movie. She was in Domino.
Now, another kind of nitpick I had with this is, what's going on with Nina and George, like, in this scene? Is this grounds for Nina walking away, like, we're over?
Well, in the scene, she does walk away, and there's actually some deleted dialogue that I think will answer that question. When George asks what it was she wanted for dessert, her response was, "I'll have the Never Call Me Again brulee," which is pretty clever. Oh, no. Oh, you don't like that?
I don't know. Anytime you need to put a bunch of hyphens in there.
Oh, shut your mouth. So I think that was the last straw, because she was already, I think, a little bit reticent with when he was grasping her hand and wouldn't let her go to the bathroom in the earlier scene. So now this was the final straw, the fact that he was spying on her in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I get that. It seems weird because from her point of view, they haven't talked about the bulimia or that she might be refunding.
Oh.
It just seems...
I see what you're saying.
It seems like there was a lot conveyed that we never saw. That she's mad at George for accusing her of throwing up, I guess, just by having him march into the bathroom. Like, she asked, what are you doing in here, George? To me, that seems like a good question, but it seems like she is aware that he is accusing her of throwing up.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree.
It's again, I'm just not a fan of the storyline, so...
As a viewer, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. She realizes George was suspecting she was bulimic, and that's her proof that he came in and was like, aha. I think it's conveyed loosely to the viewer that's what's going on, but it's not, you don't see them have that conversation.
Right. It I don't know, just always confused me. Like, that seems like a big leap for Nina to be like, we're over because you're accusing me of being bulimic.
Right.
Because why?
And we don't see that scene.
I don't know. Part of me feels like rewatching this episode that Larry and Jerry kind of like took over the story.
Because it was called The Bulimic, so that must have been more heavily weighted in the episode. And then once they got that switch idea, I'm sure that took over and they nixed a lot of bulimic stuff.
Yeah, and so for me, the George and the Elaine storylines kind of suffer this week. You know, they kind of feel thin. Just so the switch could be the A story, but whatever. Let's go over to the sidewalk. In a great scene here, Newman's in a raincoat, which, did you notice the kind he was wearing?
Were there any belts?
Nope.
Oh, look at him.
I think he's got an executive on.
Did he go to Rudy's?
Maybe. He's standing in front of a newsstand as Babs walks by.
Hi, Newman. Hi, Newman. Doesn't it sound like that, everybody? It sounds like, hi, Newman.
Hi, Newman.
Hi, Babs.
What are you doing?
Just minding my own business.
You get into trouble that way.
Makes you think I'm looking for trouble.
From what I hear, you postmen don't have to look too far.
Well, you know, sometimes it just has a way of finding you. Cigarette?
Don't mind if I do.
Oh, what a great scene. I'm looking forward to all the more parodies we'll get.
Oh, yeah.
Seinfeld.
They're coming.
And it is weird. Why is Newman wearing this raincoat and the gloves? And he's going to Baltimore.
Cigarette.
He's going to Baltimore, but why is he dressed like that?
For the Postman convention.
Mm-hmm. There's some cool stage direction for this scene, which is sort of like a send-up of, like, I don't know, like a film noir or one of those, like, affair movies, Postman Always Rings Twice or Double Indemnity. The stage direction reads that Newman comes out of the newsstand, tapping on a new pack of cigs, getting ready to blow a heater.
Now fix me a drink.
Yeah. Right. Oh, hey, we're going to get that in a couple of weeks.
That's right.
There's a lot of that film noir going on this season. Also something going on this season, the music has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Mom and Pop Store, we had the big band music and the play on Everybody's Talking at Me. Mm-hmm. What do we have recently? The Superman theme.
That's right. You're right. I guess with budget, they could use the rights to certain songs like that, and also Jonathan Wolfe probably coming up with some really good stuff.
Case in point, this episode with the film noir. There's also that like Cuban version of the Seinfeld theme.
Yes, the little bumper
at the end of the race. So Jonathan Wolfe really taking it up a notch this season. And I'm sure our listeners would rather stop doing it, but can we continue the Hi Newman through the rest of the series?
I never questioned that we wouldn't continue to do it.
It's one of my favorite things.
We'll see a steep drop-off in listenership from this episode on.
Of course. Next scene, we are at Jerry's apartment. George shows up, wants to talk to Kramer. He's pissed that Babs never showed up at the restaurant, and the whole thing blew up in his face.
Oh, that's a shame.
Very appropriate.
Oh, and it's great because he says it and then he just walks to the kitchen, leaving George.
Almost like not aware that he's saying that's a shame. You know,
just came out.
What happened with Sandy? I forgot all about it. Did you call her?
Yeah, I did. In fact, I went over there.
So what happened? Did she throw you out, huh?
No, actually, she took it pretty well.
So what happened?
She's into it.
Into what?
The menage. And not only that, she just called me. She told me she spoke with the roommate, And the roommates into the menage, too.
That's unbelievable!
Oh, it's a scene, man.
Do you ever just get down on your knees and thank God that you know me and have access to my dementia?
What are you talking about? I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna do it? What do you mean you're not gonna do it?
I can't. I'm not an orgy guy.
Are you crazy? This is like discovering plutonium by accident!
Don't you know what it means to become an orgy guy? It changes everything. I have to dress different. I have to act different. I have to grow a mustache and get all kinds of robes and lotions and... I need a new bedspread, new curtains. I'd have to get thick carpeting and weirdo lighting. Plus, I'd have to get new friends. I'd have to get orgy friends. No, I'm not ready for it.
You know, I thought this was sort of a win-win situation for Jerry. Let's say Sandy's into it. Great, he gets to have a menage a trois.
Mm-hmm. George seems to think that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
You what? You know?
And if she doesn't want the menage, well, at least he'll get the roommate.
Right.
But it seems like Jerry never wanted the menage, which, I don't know, does that seem right for the character?
I feel like I got nothing to offer this episode because I don't know...
Well, Vinny, we know you've been in many menage a trois, so you can speak from personal experience.
I don't know, had he gone through with it versus, like, what would have been better I guess in terms of humor, this is funnier, the fact that I'm not an orgy guy.
Of course, yeah.
And George, that discovering plutonium by accident is a genius line.
Well, this seems like pure Larry neuroses. Like,
that's true.
I don't know if Larry's ever been in a threesome or had the potential to be in a threesome, but this seems how Larry would react.
Yeah, maybe it's that fear of buckling under the pressure in a way, but Jerry's argument is, it'd have to become one of those orgy guys, weirdo lighting, all this. Oh, I love that he says grow a mustache, and we actually see him with a mustache in season 9.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Our listener, Martin Bowe, who, does art each week, we include in our show notes. He did one of Jerry with the mustache. He's got like a lava lamp, a robe, slippers.
Oh, very nice.
I think he looks a little like Keith Hernandez, but it totally works.
All right. Bring it.
Based on Jerry's orgy description. But, it's funny, though. This totally lines up with the character. I think it would be out of character for Jerry to do a threesome.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a prude.
Kramer now, I could see doing a threesome.
I think Kramer would be in a full-blown orgy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like tons of people, but
that makes sense. This is Jerry's natural course as how he would handle a menage.
Do you think George though would be able to handle the menage?
Hell no. He can barely handle one woman that actually was willing to sleep with him. And the best line here, oh, you couldn't do it either. I know.
Yes.
So weak-willed there.
Absolutely. And I think the only difference between Jerry and George here is like Jerry can admit, I can't do this. Whereas George thinks he can do it and will buckle under the pressure.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Well, let's cut to the credits here. We get a little epilogue of sorts. Elaine enters and catches Jerry up on what happened with the brew line. Now the assistant is going to tell Landis that she was sneaking around the office. She won't get the job offer now, so she missed out on the racket and the job. Kramer slides in. Cosmo slides in. He's returning that scrubber. We didn't talk about this or in the first scene. He's returning like some kind of like scrubber for the sink or a dish.
Oh, I didn't realize he had it a second time.
Yeah, it's the same prop.
Cool.
Anyways, turns out Newman has a brew line, so Elaine could maybe borrow this to give to Mr. Pitt. But since Newman's on a trip to Baltimore, Kramer has a set of keys, and he takes the group over to Newman's. All the while, George is yelling at him about Babs not showing up. And as the group arrives at Newman's, you hear this like wild, like animalistic noise coming from the apartment. And when they enter, Newman and Babs are going at it on the couch.
Cosmo!
It's still clean.
But
everyone's
man,
clothed.
Babs is making some like baboon type noises on the couch.
Oh man.
A couple things. I wonder why Newman is going on vacation to Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Like what? I'm wondering what's he gonna do down there?
Yeah, I was asking that earlier. Like he's dressed a certain way, the executive, the gloves.
But it's not business; it's vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is a hitman. You know, he's that like a cleaner later.
Hey, now you're off on a topic. And then, did you notice, going back to season 3, the keys?
Yes.
Kramer holds Newman's spare set of keys. So is this not another key violation?
Oh, absolutely.
Taking Jerry and Elaine to Newman's to let him in so they can steal his brew line.
And not only taking them over to his apartment, but taking something out.
Didn't Kramer learn his lesson already?
I guess not. He paid for it.
That's true.
I don't think there's any worse image than seeing Newman on top of your mother. It's just
a good point.
Yikes. And you mentioned Jerry going over to the apartment. I never realized this. Jerry stays behind. It's just Kramer, Elaine, and George.
Oh, really?
I always thought it was the main 4.
Oh, wow.
Witnessing this. And you know what it reminded me of? In Clue, whenever they'd go from one room to another, one or two characters always stays behind.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads to the mystery of, were they off killing someone? What were they doing?
Love that you snuck a Clue reference in there.
So, what do you think?
So, Newman. Should we refund this episode, Matt?
Should it be the whole voice like, should we refund this whole episode? No, never mind. It's too much. Should we refund this episode? I don't know, man. I'm on the fence. I don't hate this episode. There's just not a whole lot that I love about it. I love the Jerry and George roommate convos. Those are fantastic. And the film noir parody. That's the stuff I love, and that's about it. That's all I really love in this episode.
It's a lot of stuff.
Well, I'm not a fan of the Elaine arc. I don't like the George arc. The Kramer name reveal, while I like Cosmo, it's like, okay. But yeah, so I only really like half of this episode, really.
Wow.
What about you?
I liked a lot about this episode. My favorite is the film noir bit, the Jerry and George sitting around the table kind of scheming over how they're going to pull off this switch here. Mm-hmm. And it kind of feels like the opposite in a way. It's just it's a unique idea for an episode to switch roommates. Like, it seems like one of those, not groundbreaking, but something about it seems above other episodes, like the traditional episode of the week. Mm-hmm. So for that, I really like this episode. And despite me, boo-hooing over, there's no possible name you could give Kramer. It's kind of cool that this is a landmark episode that we learn Kramer's first name. I'm not crazy about his mom as a character, but some great quotes that we love to spout off, which we've done ad nauseum here. So I'm going to spare you guys of that. Mm-hmm. I don't mind George's arc or Elaine's arc for that matter. I understand what you say about the bulimic arc kind of being pushed aside in order for the switch stuff, but we get gold as a result, so I can overlook that. And I love Elaine's because we see Miss Landis in that, her cast with the nice reveal, and I like that Elaine's kind of getting on in this episode, mm-hmm. In a way of speaking. So I really enjoyed this one. This one I think might actually crack top 20.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
Briefly.
Well, it's not going to crack my top 20, so have at it, Vinny. What do you got?
I think I'm going to put this as my number 20 episode. So it's going to knock the pin into the pond with the Cadillac. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Seincast. Please feel free to send us an email at seincast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram.
Vinny, what episode do we have next week?
We're discussing the 12th episode of Season 6, The Label Maker.
Ooh, is that the Label Baby Jr.?
Love the Label Baby. Baby.
But for now, I'm Matt.
I'm Vinny.
Signing off. Seincast is not endorsed by Castle Rock Entertainment, Sony Pictures, or NBC. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Seinfeld, the Seinfeld logo, and all names, pictures, and audio of Seinfeld characters are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders.
Hi, Newman.